Everybody can hear me okay? We're good? All right. Everybody's awake. Got your coffee, tea, other caffeine, some form or the other. Ah, okay. New people coming in. Just this moment. All right. So A2 low. Uh, A2 low, it's all the A2 programs are slightly different from each other. Um, the A2 low program is the closest to the C1 program as all three of them. So if you taught C1, low, mid, high, it's pretty similar format to those, or not high, the low and the mid. Not enough coffee yet. So we can get into it. Okay, so here are the course objectives. Number one, to develop academic language for knowledge acquisition and critical expression, to practice and simulate actual TOEFL junior tests, to establish a foundation in reading, listening, speaking, and writing, to enhance test-taking strategies to increase scoring capability. So don't forget the TOEFL Junior is different from the TOEFL test. This is kind of just for them, the students to dip their toes in the wonderful world of TOEFL, help them just build a solid foundation. So as they continue to level up, they can be successful in the classroom. Basically, what we're doing is just helping them understand and start to get on the road to master the TOEFL skills, the different question types. The A2 program is much more focused on the question type steps, as opposed to C1, which was more like topic-based learning. A2 low does have different topics for each lesson, but then we sprinkle in some more test-taking specific skills for this program. All right, so here is what the books look like. We've got the table of contents right here, how the book is laid out. Each lesson has its own set of vocabulary. And they also have a simulate page. This is the reading passage and the line paper for listening notes. There are different passages for there's two different reading passages and two different listening passages for the A2 low program. And you only have, oh, balloons, yay. You only have the simulate page in your books. The understand page is just on the smart textbook, and I'll go over that momentarily. Um, and then in the back of the book, we have different question type steps. So they're pretty basic steps, like look for keywords in the question, look for those same keywords in the notes. That's about like 90% of the question types. Those are the steps. Feel free to make modifications if your branch allows to the question types. If you find that you have more simplified steps that the students are able to kind of connect to more and understand a little bit more, because this can be very repetitive and very dry. But if you have your own tips and tricks, that can be really helpful for the students. Just build that solid foundation. All right, so each different question types like main idea, inference, detail or fact, negative fact, and then yeah, I'm not sure if I have all the TOEFL steps, but the vast majority of them, the basic ones. And then we only have 2 pages. So we have this opinion writing page with this outline in the back, and then there's also picture narration. All right, so there's only one of each of these pages, and this is to help them towards the end of the term prepare for the achievement test. So for the test this semester, they will have opinion writing, which is basically the same thing as what you've just facilitated with the C1 level test. What was that, last week? And then instead of opinion speaking, we have picture narration. So with A2 low, they have 4 images, and they basically just have to tell you a story based on those images. And then the mid is they've got 6 images. So we'll go over those details a little bit later. All right, here is the basic class structure. So as you can see, pretty similar to the C1 program. The only different things we've got are the simulate pages. All right. And those are where we're going to have like the test taking specific exercises for reading and listening. And then there are some different writing and speaking activities in the back of the end of the smart textbook. And all branches, they do different things. Some branches, they have you do these pages. Other branches, you can just do your own writing or speaking exercises. So you'll want to talk with your branch management team specifically on what they would like you to facilitate in your classes. But in my opinion, the priority should be on the skills, the 4 basic skills: reading, listening, writing, speaking, because that's what they got to prepare for week 11 next semester. All right. Okay, so similar to the C1 program, we have activate pages, but unlike the C1 low and mid, we only have one activate page, I believe. And there are different words and then fill in the blanks. So pretty similar methodology. You don't want show, don't tell. You just find really simple, straightforward media cards. It's just going to confuse them if you try to be clever. Sometimes it is nice for more advanced classes, more advanced students, but as we all know, there's a wide spectrum of students who attend our academies. So you might have some students that are in these low levels who could be in like a higher level at a different branch or something. So one size does not fit all. But in my opinion, I think just the most straightforward as possible, the better, and make sure that they're nice and big. I do know that some people, sometimes, not always, they have issues with their media cards uploading. So a basic modification that you could do is just have some images like in a Google Drive folder or your own PPT and just show those up on the screen nice and big. Then that way you can also like zoom in on parts of it. Because sometimes, as we all know, it's really frustrating when you find like a good media card, but then it's like a different WEBP file or some other weird file size, and then you can't upload it properly, or it's like the size of a thumbnail. Anywho, that's that. There are these fill in the blanks, but I don't think that these are if you find that you don't have time for these, you can always go back to these if you have extra time at the end of the lesson. But as I mentioned before, the priority should be on the 4 core skills. So yeah, there's that. Segment guide allocates 10 minutes, so no more than 10 minutes. Should be like a really quick exercise. The students do practice vocabulary all throughout the term. They have the words in their book. Some branches I know, they have them. At Mokdong branch, we always have our students fill in every single word 5 times in the book for homework. And they also have exercises for eye-learning to practice their vocabulary. So we don't need to hammer in vocab because they have many, many opportunities to practice that. When we should be giving them feedback and help assistance on improving their skills. All right, so understand, very similar to the C1 program. We want to introduce the skills, break down reading passages. Unlike the C1 program, they're not always going to be topic-based passages about, like this one is about like unhealthy foods. So they're talking about instant foods, how they're not healthy because of sodium or whatever, all that stuff. Other lessons, they will have stories. So maybe it's about a kid named Jimmy. He's going on a camping trip with his family. They forgot to bring their tent. So then they got to figure out, what are they going to do? Are they going to drive back home? So instead of focusing on the Cheongnam pizza, what I usually do is just have the students focus on things like the characters, the setting, the plot, what are the main things happening. I'm eliciting key points by asking WH questions. We're looking for the same things kind of as we do in the understand page with the Cheongnam pizza, looking for transitions, other keywords that can help them get like the basic understanding of it. All right. And yeah, so this, as I mentioned before, this passage is only in the smart textbook. It won't be in their workbooks that they have. All right, so then they can use the pen tool. They can annotate by using circling transition words, putting a box around repeated words, doing one line or double underline, dotted lines or squiggly lines for the details. All right, modification, depending on your branch, there is a summarize page similar to the C1 program. But that can, in my opinion, I think you're just going to lose the kids because you're just like going over and over and over this passage or the story. So I would just combine the 2 pages. So you're looking for topic, thesis, main ideas, and details all in this one exercise activity. And then instead of doing it again, because then the more advanced students are, you're going to lose those kids, the other kids. So you don't want to, you want to maintain control of the class and keep things moving. So I think it's a good modification just to combine the two. But make sure to check with your branch management before you go ahead and do that. All right, then we have the scan page, very similar to the C1 program as well. Just going to strengthen their scanning, test taking, reading comprehension skills. We can guide the students using to fill in the blanks, show them how to use the dual screen function, how they can see back a few pages on their annotations from the previous page, guiding on strategies to fill in the blanks, looking for keywords in the question, looking for keywords in those sentences. Where do we find those same keywords? And then emphasize, yep, the keywords help locate answers. Then we have these small little numbers in blue boxes, and these correspond with how many words go in the blanks. So they're always confused about that. So don't forget that. Okay. Oh, so in the beginning of term, I would guide them on how to complete those, maybe do like 1 or 2 together as a class, and then set a timer, maybe at least 1 minute per question. But then as you progress through the term, they're going to get the routine, so you can just go ahead and set a timer, similar to what you did in your C1 scan pages. Okay, and then here's that summarized page that I mentioned before. More fill in the blank activities, confirming understanding, filling in the details. All right. And then they should, segment guide, encourage you teachers to summarize details rather than copy word for word. All right, you can teach them summarize or paraphrasing skills. Okay, and then here is the listening component. So listening notes. It looks pretty similar to what the C1 program had for us currently. But instead of the 2 comprehend pages, I think it's just 1. So just take notes. Really similar layout. We got the audio buttons, same methodology for the most part. Guide the students on note-taking skills, adjust your level of guidance throughout the term. And the scan page is basically the same format. So it's going to be more fill in the blanks, show the kids how to use a dual screen function or use their notes. I always think it's really good. It's better instead of having the notes on the tab, teaching the students how to write the notes in their workbooks. Then you can reference those notes, also the notes on the board. So then you can have them guide you to what note specifically. So then showing them how to use the notes. All right. We don't want to take notes for the sake of taking notes. We want to teach them how to use them effectively. Okay. And then I always love using the eyes on teacher function for this. So it helps avoid just distractions and kids, yeah, messing stuff up. So that's always helpful. Okay, here are the skills that I like to focus on in my classes to help the kids improve their note-taking skills. So task, I know some branches use ask, but the transitions, you don't want to forget those. Super, super important. So words like today, however, first, next, furthermore. At Milkdome branch, we always have our instructors give the students a list of transition words at the beginning of the term. So we have them staple those in their books or tape those in their books or just put them in a file or just somewhere in their books because it's really helpful for them in all their classes to have a good solid understanding of transition words and phrases. All right, abbreviations. So if they're talking about a science class, how can we make that shorter? We can do SC, SCI, CL, SS. Symbols, what kind of symbols? If there's a question, use a question mark. Arrows, really helpful. Smiley faces, frowny faces. All right, and then showing them kind of how to use all those things together using keywords. Today, the boy went to the library at 3 p.m. to study. And then for all components, we want to give them heavy guidance in the beginning of the term and then kind of ease back as we're progressing towards the achievement test. And each class is going to be different. Your 4 p.m.s are going to be different than your 7 p.m.s. Your Monday 4 p.m. is going to be drastically different than your Tuesday 4 p.m. So there's going to be different dynamics, different students, which we all know and love. All right, so here are these simulate pages. This is what the reading looks like. So it's going to be a passage at the top, which is the same passage in their books. And then there's going to be several questions. So main idea questions, fact questions, inference questions. This is the time where we can use those pages in the back of the book to guide the students on understanding the skills. And during this time, I'll direct their attention to those pages specifically. I'll just grab someone's book in the front of the classroom and then see what page it is. So then they all know we're going to page 94. Look at page 94. We're talking about main idea question types. And then if I'm not a fan of the steps, I'm gonna prepare my own question type steps right on the board, keep it like a decent size so then I can write notes next to it. And then I can reference those when we're reviewing the questions or when I'm walking them through in the beginning of the term. All right, so they got space in the books. Their parents pay for the books, so we should be using those books. They'll make mom happy. Money well spent. All right, so we're guiding the students through the passage in the beginning of the term, using Chungdom Pizza, helping identify the thesis, main ideas, details, all that good stuff. Introducing question types. And we have 10 weeks to prepare. So remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Want to give them into digestible chunks, help simplify the process for them because it's going to be really overwhelming. And some of these low-level students like EC4, pre-Mega, Mega-Giga, they're still getting used to Hagwon life. So we're going to have like a broad range of students who are kind of just thinking like, oh, this is supposed to be just like a fun class. I'm hanging out with my friends. And other kids are like, I understand, like I'm here to learn, get better. So we want to really help them develop good habits in the classroom and a solid understanding of the question types, just so they don't hit a plateau, they're on an upward trend as they level up. Okay, so make sure, just try to be consistent as possible with whatever steps you're telling them, whatever skills you're teaching them, just be consistent. And then that will help them make improvements. All right, here's what the listening simulate looks like. Eyes on teacher function, great, love it, use it. Helps to avoid distractions. When a play, pause, elicit, just like we would in any other listening component. Teaching the students how to use abbreviations, use symbols, but also as the term progresses, I'm going to call on some students and ask how did they abbreviate the science class, or how did they use symbols to communicate that the company made more money, or they're sad because the dog ran away or something. And that can be always helpful. And then later in the term too, as I'm doing less hand-holding and walking around, proctoring, making sure that the students are taking good notes. If a student's doing a good job, I'm gonna lift up their book and then make note of that, being like, all right, guys, check it out. Look at Susie's notes. She's doing a great job. She's using annotations. She's got these cool symbols. She drew this really cool smiley face. So make sure if your notes look like this, you're on a good track. So that just helps build rapport with the students, helps them just like motivate them and get on board and have a good time. So that's really another thing that we want to make sure that we're doing in the classroom is how can we make these classes fun? Because as we all know, they can be very dry, very repetitive. So what can we do to make some, just make it fun, liven it up. All right, we want to make it fun for you, but also the students, because they are long classes. Okay, so in the beginning of the term, as I said before, I'm going to guide the students. I'm going to play, pause, elicit way more in the first few weeks than I will in week like 7, 8. I'm going to take notes on the board. So then when we're reviewing the questions, I can have the students guide me through using the notes. I can circle the part of the notes. All right, guys, so then what main idea was this connected to? All right, so then we're only looking at main idea number 2. This is the only part of the notes we have to look at. So in what keywords do we see in the question? We also see in the answer choices or the keywords in the question. And then that way they can visually see, oh, this is how I use my notes. I'm just not gonna scribble on a page, throw it on the floor, and then just like pick or Coca-Cola, whatever. All right. And then beginning of term, I'm gonna do a few questions, maybe 1 or 2 with the students. And then the other ones, I'll set a timer for maybe 20, 30 seconds, depending on their skill level, just based on what I'm kind of gauging. And then review, I'm going to cold call. I'm going to elicit steps. I'm not just going to let some kid tell me B, Y, oh, just. Well, no, like walk me through the steps. What are the keywords in the question? All right. Then what keywords, where do we see those same keywords? What did the boys say those or the girls say those? What main idea was that connected to? And then if we can walk them through the steps that were prepared with those notes, then they can kind of learn from their mistakes and be like, oh, it's actually easy to use my notes. So I don't really have an excuse not to use them. All right. Okay. And then here are some of the activate pages that we have for the writing and the speaking. In the first bit, there are some chunk phrases. So you're going to read the phrases, have them call and respond back to you. You can use media cards to help them understand different terms, have some discussions, sprinkle in some personalized questions to build rapport. And then the following page, they are going to rewrite part of the sentences. All right. So you can activate a timer if you'd like, or you can do some of these together with your students, show them how to use the dual screen function to refer back to the previous pages. And then you're going to elicit answers from the students. Later in the term, you can just let them run free, spread their wings and fill those in, and then review those. And then the build, other times or other pages, they'll have at the bottom right here, you can see it's not very big. I'll show you in a moment what it looks like on the screen bigger. But they're going to be scrambled. So then they're going to be unscrambling the phrases. The same phrases that they had on the first page will be the third page ones. All right, so I will go back real quick. Yoink. Everybody can see this, yeah? My screen, yeah. Okay. So one thing I forgot to mention, unlike the C1 program, we only have this graphic with the topic. So then same methodology, you can just go over the title, have some media cards, go over what is an unhealthy, have them write it down in their workbooks if they're not really understanding that it's the opposite of healthy. Have some discussions. What unhealthy foods do you like to buy? Do you like to eat? Do you like sweet snacks or salty snacks? Just get them interested in the topic for the day. Here's that activate page. It's going to be 2 groups of phrases or words rather. Understand page looks very similar to the C1. They've got these definitions for these terms for them. Also sprinkle in your own media cards. All right, we got the scan page. Summarize. Taking notes. Got those right here. So very similar to C1. Some things to keep in mind when they're taking notes. And then, whoop, does it have it? Oh yeah, there's a little light bulb button that we all know and love. All right, so here's the model notes that the Smart Textbook provides, but I would prepare your own notes on with your own abbreviations and symbols that you can kind of like help guide the students to start to use. Scan page for listening. Simulate. So we have this more kind of like academic passage with several questions. Simulate, got this with a T-chart. Several questions. Then here's the activate pages. All right, so there's gonna be several phrases. And then completing the sentences. Unscrambling them. All right, and then here's a writing exercise. But your branch might want you to do a just a writing exercise on paper by just handing them out paper. Maybe they have their own paper notebooks and you have your own prompt. So you can use this smart textbook prompt. What is your favorite junk food? or you could kind of frame it to be more similar to what they'll find like on a TOEFL test. So agree or disagree. People should avoid junk food, and then go over the skills, how to write that essay. Right, then here's some grammar exercises, which if your branch wants you to do these, go for it, have fun with it. Other branches, they're going to just have you prioritize the 4 basic skills. I personally don't really do these exercises because there's we got to have time for other stuff. But they're there, teaching them how to use punctuation, teaching them subject and verb relationships, capitalization, different grammar points. Acquire and apply. All right, so back to my presentation. All right, so whenever I do an exercise with writing or speaking, I always want to have some sort of a template or abbreviation or acronym to help them improve their skills. So whenever I do facilitate like a writing component, I always like to have a slide similar to this, like a PPT or just a Google Doc. I'll throw up on the screen how I want them to organize their essay. And then we'll go over the prompt on the board. We'll go over other kind of skills they can use to simplify the process, because they only have 10 minutes on the test to complete the essay. So I let them know they can, I want them to have an introduction, body paragraphs. They can either have one big one where there's the 2 reasons and 2 details in there, or 2 separate ones, and a conclusion paragraph. So the hook sentence, the hook can be a question or a fact related to the topic. Opinion statement, I want them to get used to using that phrase, in my opinion, rather than just say, I like this, or yes, I agree with the question. They need to be very clear with it. And then transition sentence. So I have several reasons to support my opinion. I have 2 reasons to support my opinion. And then showing them different options they have for transitions to introduce their reasons, transitions to introduce their details. All right. And then same for the conclusion. Right. For these reasons, thus, in conclusion, therefore, restating their opinion by just rewriting it and then summarizing their reasons. So this is because, and then writing in a full sentence, write out what is their first reason, what is their first detail, and then adding some final thoughts. So maybe they can ask the reader, so what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with me? Or maybe there's a call to action they can have. So if we don't do this, then the world will be a horrible place. Or a warning. So if you eat unhealthy foods, these bad things will happen to you. And that's just like a way for them to kind of like level up their essay instead of just a straightforward one. Okay. And then help them with their, reasons when they're brainstorming. I like to have them just memorize just 5 basic categories using an acronym. So either like do your best Michael Jackson impression, he, or me, he. So money, education, health, environment, entertainment. Or there's other ones like themes, like technology, health, education, money, environment, society, something. Other ones like cheese me. There's so many acronyms, but I think acronyms are very helpful for the students to remember. So then they're not just trying to spend so much time trying to find the most clever reason to impress you or something. So all they have to do is just express it very clearly and using logical reasoning. So I always tell them that don't worry about creativity. Unfortunately, they don't give creativity points for this. I would love to give creativity points, but unfortunately, the grading rubric doesn't have the spot for that. Pick the easiest answer. So if it's an agree or disagree question, if it's easier to say to defend disagree, then don't, even if you personally agree, just make it easy on yourself, do disagree. Just get it done quickly, easily, effectively. And then it's okay to lie as long as it's believable. All right. So if they're talking about what is your favorite pet, and they don't have a pet, but maybe they're like, I have a dog, but I want another dog. that's believable lie. But if they're talking about, oh, I have a pet dragon, I want another one, that's not believable. So yeah. But having an acronym like this can be very, very helpful. Just get things going because as we know, some kids will just like sit there, they'll twiddle their thumbs, they'll try to get their phone out or something. And we need to help show them, hey, you can do this. I know you got this. Let's get it done. All right. Okay. So same as the this term, where we're doing the writing on the odd weeks and then the speaking on the even weeks. All right. So we basically only have 5 weeks to practice writing, 5 weeks to practice speaking. Okay. All right. And then after I show them how to use the acronym, I want to show them how easy it is. So then I'm going to propose a question to them to show them what they can do, how they can use these different categories. So if the question is, what's the best city in the world to live in? Pick the easiest answer. So why is it? All right, so money. There's many different different jobs. There's Korean companies or international companies, companies from all over. Are they good paying jobs or bad paying jobs? They're great paying jobs. All right, excellent. And then what about education? There's many good schools, academies. All right, great. How are the teachers there? They're awesome. They're the best. All right, great. And then health. When you're sick, what can you do? You can go to the hospital. All right, how are the doctors there? Are they good or they're bad? Oh, they're the great. And then it's easy to walk around the city too. So then your health is good, your physical health. Entertainment, many fun things to do. Go to the parks, go shopping, go to restaurants, go to kids cafe, dog cafe, cafe. Environment, there's many good parks. You can go for a picnic with your family. You can go to the mountains to hike. You can go for a bike ride along the river. So then show them how quick and easy it can be. It's be like, guys, it took us what? 10 seconds to do that. So you have no excuse not to do that. So you can do this. All right. Other ones you can do. Who's someone you look up to? What's the easiest one? Mom or dad. All right. Okay. And then for speaking, so low level, as I mentioned before, you're going to have 4 images and they have 1 minute to prepare their story, 1 minute to tell their story. All right. So the smart textbook will have images like this. Sometimes they have only one story in the book, and other weeks they won't have any. So make sure that you look at that ahead of time because you might need to prepare some of your own images. So either find like a little comic strip that's appropriate for the class, like Garfield or Dilbert or something. Or maybe your branch manager or your FM or HI, whatever acronym they use, has some ones in their own drive that they can share with you that you can use in classes. I know some teachers, they like to print out these images so then the kids can see it in front of themselves, write notes next to them. That's a consideration. If you want to make that modification, go for it. All right. And then very similar to the writing component, I try to provide them an acronym to help simplify the process. So this one I like to use in my classes, facts, so feelings, actions, characters, transitions, and setting. All right, so I took this from another Mokdong teacher, shout out Joanna Lee. So this is very helpful, I found in my classes. And this can help in A2 classes, but also if you're teaching V1 classes, if you're going to attend that workshop, or if you've already taught V1 classes before, this is going to be a really helpful acronym to help get them writing their stories in more advanced ways and be more descriptive in their language. All right, talking about feelings. Oh, the boy was excited because it was the last day of school. And then actions, describing those in detailed phrases. Who are the characters? Who are the people? Or the animals or whatever in the story. Transitions. One day this happened. Then next week, 4 days later, this happened. And then setting, being specific, where is this? All right, is it actually happening? Or as you can see in this picture, the girl was daydreaming. All right. Okay. Right. And then here we have a list of their iLearning homework. I know some depends on what the parents want to do, but most parents, they do pay for this. So this is the homework that the students do at home each week, and the deadline is Sunday before midnight. But I think, so if a kid doesn't do their iLearning homework, I think they can go back to finish old, outdated or previous lesson assignments later on in the term. So if you have one student that you notice who isn't doing their iLearning like in the first few weeks, maybe magically the next week you're going to see some grades in there. All right. One thing that I found is really helpful, especially when I'm writing my comments, is looking at this portfolio section of the MERP. So this is a C1 class, but it looks the same for the A2 and V1 programs and A3 programs. So you just go here, the left column, go to management, portfolio. Then it's going to be a list of all the iLearning assignments. There's a little pull-down menu. You can select which activity you want to take a look at. I always like to check out the writing and the speaking ones because then if a kid hasn't really been in my class that often, or maybe it's like a new kid that joined my class or transferred in, um, then I can hear what they actually sound like. Another time, there was another colleague who was telling me that the student that they had for a class, whenever they did the speaking, they couldn't hear him at all, even if they were standing right next to them. But then we checked out their iLearning homework, and the girl sounded like a different person. So maybe they're just really nervous, and they don't, I don't know, they're trying to play tricks on you or something in class. But then, yeah. So then you can talk to that student like, hey, Jenny, like I noticed you're like a totally different person. Like, who is that person? Let's bring her here next week, all right, for the speaking, so we can help you improve. Um, so if there's ever like a highlighted blue button, you can always click on it and see what their score was, and then see the details of what the assignment was. If it's writing, you can see the prompt and you can see what essay that they did. Sometimes the kids try to trick the system with like the word counts. So be mindful of that. They'll try to like put spaces in or periods in, or say, I was very, 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 very happy today because this happened. And that's not going to fly. So then I like to razz the students whenever they do that. Maybe I'll throw it up on the screen being like, Billy, what's up? What are you doing? This is not, you don't need to use very 20 times. Yeah. All right. And then whenever a student does do really well in iLearning that I notice, maybe they're making some really significant improvements, I'm gonna give them a shout out in class. And then that can also help build rapport, help them build up their confidence, and help them make the improvements, help them take the leap that I'm confident that they can take. All right. And then they can just enjoy their time that much more in class, which will make your life easier. All right, so I know I probably talked on the little faster side, a lot of information. It is the morning. We're all on different caffeine levels. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about the A2 low program? Yeah, Greg?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. So for the um, reading section, so do we do the Chungdom pizza for the activate as well as for the, I don't know what was the other one, stimulate for both of those?
You mean the understand page?
Yeah, I understand. I think yeah, for this we do Chungdom pizza for this as well, and then also for later on the simulate. I think stimulate.
Yes. So I would do that. Make sure that you check while you're doing your prep that this, if you are teaching A2 low, that this is like a topic based or more like academic passage, because
Yeah,
sometimes I'll try to
because
see if I can
sometimes it's a
find
story.
one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because maybe it's like a story. This one. Yeah, this one is a story.
Okay.
So the friendship bracelet. So you can't really use the chunk of pizza here. They're gonna be like, what's the
Yeah.
first paragraph? A sentence is in that paragraph. So we can talk about who are the characters. We got Myra, we got Jenny, setting, we got a school, um, what's going on. What do we see in the picture that's important? We see what's on her wrist. It's a bracelet. What kind of a bracelet? A friendship bracelet. So we really can't use the pizza for here. As I
But
mentioned
if it
before,
is more of a topic though, we can do that. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can use kind of like similar skills too, like for transitions and stuff, and talking about the characters, setting, the plot, those kind of things, asking WH questions as we're doing some guided reading. Um, that can be helpful for them.
Okay.
And then the questions are just gonna be more like reading comprehension questions, I guess. But we can use the same skills by looking for keywords in the question, look for those same keywords in the passage.
for the low level, are the questions, yeah, mainly going to be like detail for the most part? Do
Uh,
you anticipate like other like inference or
yeah, I think they're
that
gonna
kind
be
of
the
stuff?
easy ones. I'm not sure if we're gonna have like any like sentence simplification or sentence insertion. Those
Yeah,
like summarize those more advanced ones that the TOEFL students have. Um, yeah, I think they're just gonna be like the basics. All right.
yeah.
So Kira, am I saying that right? Do you have a
That's
question?
correct. No worries. So are, I'm confused because are we like the ones introducing Chungdom pizza? Right now I'm teaching like Terra and they already know about Chungdom pizza, but some don't. So is it helpful to bring in all these acronyms and then say forget it? Because I don't use the other ones for this. I use the pizza. Is it helpful to put it in the pizza style first so that they get used to whatever that our branch? Or is it like
What do you mean about the acronyms? Those were for like the notes and then the writing.
yes, yes. Sometimes I put like but it's all kind of under the same umbrella, no? Or is that just like we're giving them acronyms to for different slides?
That's what I do in my classes that I found success in. You don't, if there's a different way that you want to do, or like your branch wants you to run it a specific way, go for that.
Okay,
That's just like what I found success with.
got it.
Just help simplify things for them. But if there's another way that that you
Okay.
found success with, go for it. So this is not, it's not a one size fits all thing. Maybe you'll find that it works in one class, but then it doesn't really work in another class. You got to kind of adjust. Um,
So
yeah.
it's not for the sake of like they all have the same information. It's kind of getting them to the skills that they need to with whatever work.
Yeah, I just I found it's helpful for me to just be consistent in my classes, and
Okay.
then um they can build a foundation that can build on that foundation as they level up.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question. Um,
Yeah.
for um the 75-25, do you have any tips to still implement that without talking too much and let the kids speak during a mega?
Um yeah, so that would be um like prepping, doing really good in your prep, like asking the WH questions, and then maybe there's some time that you find you got some extra time in a component. You can ask some more personalized questions. Like we got that story, got the friendship bracelet on this lesson. Um, talk about friendships, like do you have something that you show like you're friends with someone? Maybe you have like the same shoes, or maybe you have like the same hat or friendship bracelet, or the same t-shirt. So there's different opportunities where you can sprinkle in some discussion. Um, and then when I'm going through the steps, in the first few weeks, I'm just going to go through those, try to make it as simple as possible, have them take their notes on there. And then I'm going to list it from the students. All right, so now we're looking for transition words. What transitions do we see? All right, Jenny, Billy, Tommy, Steve. What transitions do you see in paragraph number 1? We see however, we see and, we see also, another. All right, and the next one, I'm going to call on a different kid. Um, so I would just, yeah, try to find opportunities to sprinkle in personalized questions, but then also as you're teaching them the skills, cold call on students and have them show you what you got, what they got. And just ensure that they're kind of understanding how to use the skills. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Yep. All right, awesome. Cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Going once, going twice. No? We good? All right. Any other questions regarding like student management or any stuff like that? Any areas where you feel like I could help? No? Oh, good. All right, great, grand, wonderful. In that
So,
case, someone's got a question?
oh yeah, yeah, I did. I'll be going to Mokdong soon, but I was just wondering at Mokdong, how do you guys? Did you mention like take out their cell phone or something like that? Do you guys allow like I guess phones, or do you guys confiscate phones, or how does it work with you guys?
We leave that up to the teachers. So you can have a little basket if you want to in your classroom and collect phones at the beginning of class. I think that's really helpful. I found one time there was a kid who took screenshots of the iLearning sentences, and then he just propped it up next to his tablet. And then before I hit start, I saw that, and then I was like, oh, this is my phone now. Thank you. So yeah, feel free to use a basket, and then just be consistent with that. But other teachers just instruct them to put it in their bags. But yeah, because sometimes there's like those desks that have those little shelves underneath them, and they'll kind of put those there. Or some kids will put their phone underneath their thigh, and then or like in their sleeve or something. So they are sneaky ones. But yeah, if you want to do that, go for it. Any other questions? No. All right, cool beans. I'm gonna send y'all a survey where you can tell FHR how awesome, fun, and exciting this workshop was, or how horrible I did. All right, so in the chat, go ahead and click on that, fill it out. And then there's no other questions. I'll stick around for a little bit longer. If you're going to be in the A2 mid workshop, I will see you soon and tell you some of the same information. But it'll be just as exciting and fun. All right. If you're not attending it, have a great, grand, wonderful Monday. Enjoy the fall weather. I'm so excited for sweater weather. So tired of sweating just looking at outside. All right. And then you are free. Be free.
Quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
If we're attending the next session with you, should we just stay in this Zoom meeting, or should we click on the next link in the
It'll
email?
be the other link.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. See you soon.